My name is Riley Waltenball, and for my case study, I chose to do Michigan versus Jack Kevorkian. Jack Kevorkian was a medical student at the University of Michigan, and during his time at Michigan, he decided that he wanted to become a pathologist. During his time as a pathologist, it was discovered that he was doing some very disturbing things to the corpses. He would do things like transfer blood from one corpse to another, drain the body of blood completely. And he was also fascinated with the eyes of people that were dying and after they died. So he essentially liked to watch the life leave their eyes while they were dying. He also had some very disturbing paintings, and in these paintings he depicted things that the Nazis did to their victims during World War II, lots of skulls, dead bodies, and even the idea of cannibalism was depicted in these paintings. It was later found out that in these paintings he used a mixture of blood to create these paintings. He decided to quit pathology and try to make a movie, and this movie was very disturbing and very morbid that nobody would fund it to be released. So he lost all this money producing this movie, so he tried to go back to pathology, but there wasn't a lot of hospitals that would hire him because the word got around that he was doing very disturbing things to the bodies, and he was just very fascinated with death. He decided to become a death counselor, and during his time as a death counselor, he became obsessed with the idea of helping these patients die. The two cases that stood out the most was the case of Janet Atkins and Thomas Yoke. Janet Atkins was a 54-year-old with Alzheimer's, and the controversy with this was that she wasn't in her right mind to make a sound decision of whether or not she wanted to die. So a lot of people felt like Kevorkian took advantage of her in order to fulfill his satisfaction of death. The case that ultimately got him thrown in jail was Thomas Yoke, and Thomas Yoke suffered from amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, and this left him pretty much paralyzed. Not only did he help Thomas Yoke die, but he videoed it, and almost the whole nation saw it. And you can see in the video that Thomas Yoke was very far along in his disease, and he could barely move or speak. So it was hard to say whether or not he truly gave his consent to die, or if Kevorkian also took advantage of him as well. Ultimately the thing that threw Kevorkian in jail with this case was the fact that Mr. Yoke's wife and his brother came forward and said that Thomas never wanted to die, that he was content with his life, and they made sure that he was happy and he had no desire to die. During this time that he was helping people die, he did come up with this machine, and it helped administer the drugs so that their heart would stop and they would stop breathing, and it would kill them peacefully. Kevorkian also claimed in trial that he killed over 100 people, and not all of those were consensual. Some of them were mercy killings. Kevorkian did help in a way because he did create that machine, which has led with the way that they handle the death row prisoners. The machine that he created has been adapted a lot. It also affected the Rights to Die movement because it was questioned whether or not patients can truly give their consent to die because of the diseases that they have, and if it is morally right to help these people die because they're not in their right mind, or they're just not in their right mind. Even though Kevorkian and the Rights to Die movement claimed to have nothing to do with each other, it did affect it a lot. But it did help in the way that Kevorkian kind of established that line of what is physician-assisted suicide in what is murder, and it was ultimately ruled that if a physician does help a patient die, it is not technically murder. And that is it.